What's up, guys? Fast Eddie here, and today we're going to take a look at Chuck Harding. Chuck's one of the most despised predators that I have. He's on a lot of people's most despised list, and this one's a viewer request. I've already gotten a few viewer requests. If I say that I'm going to do it, then I'm going to get to it. It's just a matter of time, but yeah, I should be able to put out some new shit for the next couple weeks, and I'm probably going to start doing different kinds of videos too. I'm just gonna start seeing if there's like documentary type shit that I could start doing. So that's what I'll be working on in the meantime as well. So yeah, let's just start. Oh, of course, this music. Okay, look. So right there, he's incredibly well known for this fucking shirt, which is I guess like a map of California. Um, the quality on this is pretty shitty. Oh yeah, shout out to the uploader too, something, whatever his name is. I'll check it out. But yeah, this shirt is fucking ridiculous. It's tacky. It's horrible. Even though the quality on this is bad, you could still see that it's just a fucking outline of California. And he's old as fuck. So let's see.
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, hold on a second.
Why
I
does
gotta
he do
finish
that?
brushing my teeth, okay?
Okay.
That's so ridiculous. Like,
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey, hold on a second. I gotta finish
it's like
brushing
he's
my teeth,
whispering.
okay?
It's like he's trying to be quiet, even though it's like there's someone else there. But he still doesn't want anyone else to hear what he's saying. Probably just because he knows what he's doing is so fucking wrong. It's like when people start whispering. Sometimes you do it for effect. Like if you're telling a story and someone starts whispering, like people will lean in, to start hearing. But that's not what he's doing. He's just whispering probably to like conceal his fucking actions.
Okay.
Hey, that's kind
And he's fat as fuck. This guy's like fucking 300 pounds. His whole thing is disgusting. He has this like grandpa fetish where he was talking about being the decoy's grandpa. He was like, I guess that's like a role play that he has. It's disgusting, but yeah, so Chuck's a miserable piece of trash. And after he was arrested, he stopped taking his medication, killing himself. He basically committed suicide after he was arrested because he stopped taking his like fucking liver pills or something. I think the world's a better place without him, so I feel no remorse for Chuck Harding over here. I'm glad that he's dead.
of... So we gonna go get a camera?
See, right there. See, I mean, he's talking about getting a camera. If this was a real fucking 15-year-old, I mean, it's horrific. Chuck exchanged child porn to the decoy. I mean, this guy's he was truly a predator. He was truly a predator. He had probably done it in the past. He was like a fucking minister or something.
So we gonna go get a camera?
He's like eating a grape. Fat ass fucking
We'll
kid.
check around here, okay?
See,
Hey, are you?
he's nervous. He's gonna check around here. So he's whispering, and he says he's gonna check around. So he already there must have been something that set him off. There was some kind of red flag that kind of put him on the suspicious edge.
We'll check around here, okay? Hey, are you? Okay.
And he
You have a
jumps.
seat right around that stool.
He's
there.
terrified as soon as he sees me.
What you up to today? Nothing.
Nothing.
Go ahead, have a seat. Call. You talking to the gentleman? Gentleman. Yeah.
He's like a fucking frog. I mean, his mouth is open the entire time. I mean, the quality on this is really bad, so it's kind of hard to see. But his mouth is agape, so he's caught off guard. He's short of breath. You can hear the kind of panting that he's doing, even trying to answer Chris's simple questions.
You had a call to talk to a gentleman. Yeah, he told me to come on in.
See,
Talk to him.
he told me to come on in. I mean, he's nervous as fuck. Like, Chuck's a pretty old guy. I guess it's kind of a miracle that he didn't just fucking have a stroke, that he didn't just fucking like die right there of a heart attack, just grab his chest and fall to the ground. I wonder what Chris would have done. He probably just would have fucking laughed.
Possibly selling the house or something. Selling the house? Yeah, I have a place today.
Excellent. Okay, so Chuck is another storytelling predator. He, instead of just coming out and saying that, he fucked up and admitting what he did, He concocts a fucking story. So let's check out his story and try and check the merit of
Talk
it.
to a gentleman. Yeah, he told me that.
So like JPW, he called ambiguously to talk to a gentleman.
Call? You talk to a gentleman?
A gentleman.
Yeah, so...
You had a call to talk to a gentleman.
Yeah, he told me to come on in and talk to him, possibly selling the house or something.
Selling the house.
Yeah, I have a place that I have for sale. So.
Oh, you're selling a house. I see.
He was interested.
So the story is what like he put up fucking like a Craigslist ad or something. Like Chuck put up a Craigslist ad, and Luke, who is the decoy, Luke called Chuck, contacting Chuck about the fucking apartment that he has.
And how did you get in contact with the fellow who wanted to perhaps buy the house you're selling?
We were chatting on the internet.
On the internet. And who's the
See, he fucked up there with his story. I mean, Chuck, if Chuck was really committed to this, he should have said Craigslist. He should have just made something else up entirely. If he's gonna say, well, I think he ended up sending pictures of himself to the decoy, so I guess he's fucked either way. But it's like, why even lie? I think that he's just lying. He's lying out of instinct, even though he knows there's no hope. It's just like, he knows that there's like 0.00001% chance that he'll succeed. But even that is better than just admitting, I guess.
fellow
In
you were
his
going to
mind.
see?
He said his name was Luke. I don't know what his last name.
Same name as
Luke.
the decoy.
And you talked to Luke about selling him your home.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
He was
here's
talking about doing some sick fucking roleplay grandpa shit.
what doesn't make sense about that. How was a 13-year-old going to afford to buy your home?
I didn't know how old he was. I didn't ask.
You
Stop
didn't
to ask
ask.
his age.
You didn't ask his age.
I think it's because he might. I think the decoy might have volunteered it. You know, he could technically say and be like, "Well, I knew the decoy's age, but I didn't ask." Like the decoy volunteered the. If you wanted to be like, if you wanted to really look at this like his defense attorney, but nonetheless, the decoy plainly revealed that the decoy was a minor, and I believe that Chuck was like aroused by that. So this guy's he was a true fucking predator. His face. Look at
You
him
know, I-
shrugging and laughing. See, for anyone to smile during this interaction, it's like smiling is a sign of nervousness, but it's also it's levity. It's like these guys they're not even taking it serious. Because Chris doesn't smile. Chris won't smile unless he's smiling like in response to someone, because it's not a funny occasion. And he's laughing.
You know, I just thought he was interested.
He looks like a fucking turtle. He just looks like a fucking ancient turtle. You can tell in his fucking mouth, his fat ass cheeks and his jowls. God.
Because I had it listed, and he says, "I understand you have a place for sale." So
Really? And where is the home you're selling?
down in Anaheim,
In Anaheim. Right next to Disney World there.
yeah,
Yeah.
Wait, what Chris said?
Anaheim,
In Anaheim. Right next to Disney World there.
Disneyland, bro. It's Disney World's in Florida. Disneyland is in fucking Anaheim.
yeah,
Yeah. And
Yes.
how much are you selling it for?
$25,000.
$25,000. That's quite the bargain.
It's quite the bargain.
It's a-
I wonder what year this was specifically. Like if this is like 2008, like if this is like right during the financial or the housing collapse, you know, the financial crisis. So it's bullshit. Once again, he's volunteering. So Chris is letting him know that he knows what's going on. Look,
And where is the home you're selling?
down in Anaheim,
In Anaheim. Right next to Disney World there.
yeah,
Yeah.
see, and Chris knows that because in the chat log they talk about Disney World, or they talk about Disneyland. So Chris is kind of flexing on him by saying, "Okay, I know that you were talking about the place that's in the same city." Chris is saying, "I have seen the chat log, and I'm referring to something that you referred to in that chat log."
And
yes,
how much are you selling it for?
$25,000.
$25,000. That's quite the bargain.
Chris is all, "Dude, I'll buy that."
3-bedroom mobile home.
Yeah. Well, Chuck, the only problem with that story is that I have the transcripts of your conversation with Luke.
Look at his face. And that's just a face of defeat. The camera zoom is excellent. And these, I mean, this is just the internal, the reeling of his life, the life that he had before this moment. He's seeing it just unravel right before his eyes. And this is so serious for him that he killed. I mean, he killed himself as a result of the sting directly. He killed just like Louis Conrad. This was so, it impacted him so much that he would rather have died than face the aftermath. Which isn't a bad thing. I'm glad that he's dead. Like I said, I think the world's a better place without him. This old fucking tortoise thing.
What are you looking for? I could be your grandpa. Into
See?
young boys your age, love to cuddle with them, caress their body, work my... And it goes on from there.
And that face. The shit that he said is so vile. It's so vile and it's so fucked. And it's like he like you could tell right there he just looks like he's surprised. It's like his eyes are enlarged. He has kind of squinty eyes naturally, but even though his eyes appear naturally squinty, they're still kind of bugged out, so you could see a lot of the white in his eyes. His pupils looking away. By reading him the chat log, Chris is evoking a reaction that Chuck is now admitting. This is Chuck can't even hide his embarrassment and his distress. So Chuck is basically saying, I authored that text just from his reaction. Because if he didn't, he could have just been like totally unfazed and been like, what are you talking about? I've never heard that before in my life. I put up a Craigslist ad. Like, he could have stuck with it, kind of like JPW, but he doesn't. He gives in.
You sure it's my...
See, but and then he has a half-ass fucking defense. Hey, you
DHARD.
Hard
Chuck
Chuck
spelled the name
1.
wrong.
Wish I could find a young man to play with, which...
So he can't even commit to this deceit, and I've talked about this before. It's like some of these guys, they try and lie, but either because of ineptitude or a lack of creativity, they can't even like commit to the lie. They can't fully realize its potential. They just they let the truth hinder the lie's potential. Basically, it's like, why even admit to small things that incriminate you? If you're gonna lie, go big or go home. Like, fucking lie, dude. Why concede small battles that you don't need to fucking concede?
Wish I could find a young man to play with. Wish I could cuddle you in my arms and kiss you and blank your wife.
Well, I have another person that uses my computer.
Another person.
Right.
Once again, so it's like a half-assed lie. The reaction that he gave earlier is indicative that Chris was reading him something that had a profound impact on Chuck. And that profound impact was him realizing that his life was about to fucking end.
Is that another person, Chuck?
No, that's me.
That's fucked up. It's like, imagine like the fucking like the Grim Reaper, like the Angel of Death, like hovering over his shoulder during this.
That's you.
But, you know, he has access to the computer.
Thanks. Would you like me to give you an exam?
Oh, it's like some doctor shit.
He asks if you're rich. No, son. Rich only in love I have and the care for a young man. What do you do for a living, Chuck?
I'm retired now.
You're retired. But before you retired, what did you do for a living?
I was working for the bus company down there in Orange County, driving the handicapped and disabled.
Okay, so he's driving handicapped and disabled. So handicapped and disabled people are vulnerable. Typically, they're typically just people who have difficulty like living alone. They have difficulty in some way, like an intellectual impairment, like a physical impairment. So the people who help them, we trust as society. We trust them a great deal because the people are vulnerable, as we should. We as society need to protect vulnerable people. So we can't have predators like this in a position or in a role that puts them in close proximity to someone who's vulnerable. So it's really fucked up, and it's who knows what he did in that capacity. But it's just disturbing that someone like this would even have a job interacting with vulnerable people.
And before that?
I was with a travel agency for a couple of years, and then I was with the military travel agency
Military
for
travel.
5 years, and then I was a government employee with the Navy as travel.
Were you ever a teacher?
Not per se. When I was in the religious life, I was studying to be
What do you mean
a
a
teacher.
religious life?
I was
Were you ever a teacher?
not per se.
Not
When
per
I was in
se.
the religious life, I was studying to be a teacher in high school for photo offset printing at the Catholic High School.
What does that even mean to be in
And
a
when you say
religious
religious
life?
life,
Catholic Church, for the Catholic Church.
What does that mean to say when I was in a religious life? Is that saying like when you were practicing the religion or when you believed in the religion?
but what role did you play in
I was a
religious life?
brother.
A brother.
I was a brother.
You were a brother.
Yeah.
In what order?
The Society of St. Don Bosco.
And so you were
Saint
a
Al Bosco. Well, I bet you that sucks for the Society of Saint Al Bosco that this fucking fat piece of shit tarnished what might have been an otherwise good name. But you never know with these fucking churches. All the Catholic sex abuse shit is really disturbing too. That raises a lot of fucking questions as well. That's fucking horrific.
honored brother.
And this is the kind of priest, because he was involved in that. It's fuckers like this who actually did it.
Well,
He's fucking
we didn't
evil.
wear collar. We wore a suit with
And the audacity that he would show up to church on Sunday, you know, to fucking condemn people who were gay or people who fucking supported abortion or whatever. It's like some of these religious people are the ones who are fucking calling them immoral.
a cross. That was all. And I was in my first set of vows. I had to go to Rome and ask for a dispensation.
Yeah, he went to Rome, so he was Catholic. So if he went to Rome, so he was involved in
Is
some
this
Catholic
an
thing.
appropriate conversation to have with somebody who said they were 13 years old?
Absolutely fucking not.
Not really, no.
Then why did you have this conversation?
I'm not. It's I use CCHARD.
Okay.
What are you talking?
Now, you can-
He's gonna
I'm not.
deny.
I'm not. It's I use CCHARD
Okay.
69.
Now you can
6
go on
now.
with that story, but I have the transcripts, and I have
And
other.
look at his face. So he's trying to convey a kind of puzzled look, like I don't know how I wound up here. I don't know what's going on. So he's feigning confusion.
Other evidence, so we can tell the truth here, or we can go on like you've been going on. It's up to you, really.
It's up to you.
Well, he was in the gay chat room, so.
What the? Okay, so that is his
Well, he was in the gay chat room, so.
a complete 180. That's Chuck conceding and saying, that's Chuck. So right there, it is at 5 minutes and 36 seconds where Chuck's strategy shifts from an outright denial, saying no, to a mitigation, which is yes, but it's not as bad as what you're saying. This is one of the classic responses in a debate where it's like someone makes an accusation and they're like, high taxes are going to lead to businesses closing down. And then it's like, you could either say, no, that's not going to happen. You could just block it and say, no, that's not true. You could mitigate it and be like, yes, but it's only going to happen to certain businesses and fuck those businesses anyways. That's like a mitigation, saying like, yeah, it's true, but it's not that bad. Or you could turn it and be like, yeah, it's true, but here's why it supports me. So Chuck is using the second option. So he's using the mitigation. Yeah, I did it, but he was in a gay chat room.
Yeah.
So it was okay to have this
Well, we were
conversation
talking-
with a 13-year-old boy?
We were talking, and,
You were talking.
he's in the gay chat room.
He was a minor. That's not the issue. The issue is that he was a minor. Him being in a gay chat room has no bearing on the fact that he was a minor.
He's looking for men if he's in the gay chat room.
And even if he was, it's still it's up to men. It's up to people to not prey upon those confused kids, regardless of what the kid thinks they want, regardless of the bullshit that they say. It's up to adults to be responsible. You can't just say, "Oh, the kid won't." It's like that doesn't wash. That's a unacceptable answer.
That is where I help you grow, by showing you different ways to learn and let you see how I live and follow the rules and observe other people.
That's sketchy. That's just unsettling.
You could say I was your grandpa. This way no one knows but you and me, and who we want to know.
And who would want to know?
This way, you could say I was your grandpa. This way no one knows but you and me, and who we want to know.
So the fact that he brings this up is telling as well. It plays into some kind of fantasy that he has. So he wouldn't suggest that the child assume the role of his grandson just for the sake of safety. He wants to do a role. It's essentially a role play that Chuck wants to enact. And that's why Chuck brings it up. Perhaps he's bringing it up under the guise of being, like just something that's a role play.
Say that to this person.
Yeah, he said that I could be his grandpa, yes.
So he is immediately conceding that the child is a minor by saying that's like, you can use deductive fucking logic. It's like, if he could be the child's grandfather, then the child must be very, very young. Because you could only be someone's grandfather if you had a significant amount of age between them and you. So he's conceding that there's a significant amount of age between the two.
This is a very graphic conversation. But perhaps what's more graphic is that you sent pornographic pictures over the internet. Pictures that qualify for child pornography. Yes or no?
Yeah, he said he was interested, so I sent him, yes.
That's
Pictures
not
of
an
you
excuse.
with underage boys.
It's not pictures of me, it's pictures I've gotten from other people.
You sent
That's not an
child
excuse.
porn to this 13-year-old Luke. Yes or no?
Yes, I sent photographs, but they're not of me or...
So Chuck is right there. He can't even face what he's done. Obviously, he can't face it. He fucking killed himself. So it's like, this is a psychological move on Chuck's part to put distance between his sick fantasy and the social stigma that is attached to it. That's why when Chris says, you sent child pornography, Chuck just says, I sent pictures. Look at it. Chuck can't even bring himself to acknowledge it. So he disguises his actions by just saying pictures.
To this 13-year-old Luke. Yes or no?
Look.
It's not pictures of me, it's pictures I've gotten from other people.
You sent child porn to this 13-year-old Luke. Yes or no?
Yes or no? Perfect.
Yes, I sent photographs, but they're not of me.
Yes, I sent photographs, but they're not of me. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who they're of, doesn't matter who took them, it matters what they are. And they are exactly what Chris had asked if that was the case.
Or anyone that I was with.
It's child pornography, though.
Exactly. It's not like in a court of law, the judge is like, if you get caught with child porn, the judge is like, oh, did you take it? Like, no, I found it. Oh, well, here you go, sir. No, it's like, if you have it, that's it. That's the crime. The crime is possessing it.
Do you see the problem with that, Chuck?
And the fact that Chuck was talking about a camera means that he was also intending on producing it. So that's just an additional reason to fucking despise this guy.
Well, yeah, he's underage, yes, I see the age.
Do you know that it's illegal to send obscene material to someone who's underage or who you think is underage?
Not per se, no.
Not
I don't
per
know.
se.
You know, I know that it's, you're not, they're illegal.
What the fuck? So, I mean, it's like Chuck is, this is an excellent question just because it clarifies state of mind. So, when they're at trial, Chuck's defense attorney couldn't be like, oh, Chuck didn't know what was going on. He didn't know what he was doing. The prosecution could bring this up and be like, look, Chuck said that he knew what he was doing was wrong and he did it anyways. So it kind of just it undermines the insanity defense and various other defenses. But, look.
Not per se, no. I don't know. You know, I know that it's, you're not, they're illegal on certain, with children and things, yes.
You believed you were talking to a
So Chris has look at. I mean, he's admitting that it's wrong to possess, but his argument is so convoluted. He's just trying to argue with Chris in any capacity that he can, but the fundamentals he's conceding to. So he's arguing over insubstantial nonsense just to have small perceived victories for his own credibility.
Do you know that it's illegal to send obscene material to someone?
So Chris asks, is it illegal to send it? So possessing it is illegal, right? Sending it is illegal, that's distributing it, and then sending it to a minor is illegal for additional reasons because you're also exposing the minor to that shit. So it's like, so Chuck is saying he knows it's wrong to possess it, he knows that's wrong, but he's not sure if it's wrong to send it to a minor. That's fucking nonsense. That argument does not
Who's
make
underage
sense.
or who you think is underage?
Not per se, no. I don't know. I didn't know that.
Not per se, no. What a fucking idiot.
I know that it's, you're not, they're illegal on certain, with children and things, yes.
You believed you were talking to a 13-year-old boy named Luke.
Yes, you did.
He didn't say he was 13.
Yes, you did.
Do you want me to show you the transcript, John?
He said he told me he was older.
No. And that's so this speaks to the fact that you said that he could have been your grandson, right? Like, I mean, you could say like, oh, well, he could be my 18-year-old grandson, but nonetheless, that's not an argument that Chuck's making. If he wanted to maintain his grandpa bit, he might as well have done that, but I guess Chuck was too fucking retarded to even pull that off.
You say, hi, we're in Southern California. I'm in Orange County. Do you want older or younger? Riverside, like older. 13, you? He says it right here. You talk about you being able to appear to be his grandpa.
Multiple times he was referencing it. So this was a kind of role play. And I don't think that Chuck had kids, which is probably a good thing, right? Because that's just a fucking extremely disturbing role play. I think the whole daddy and daughter thing, it's like that is, people do that, but the grandpa, that is like a whole different level.
Could you do me a favor and just stick your hand out? Thanks. What would have happened, Chuck, if I hadn't been here?
I would
That's
have talked to
stupid
him.
ass shit. That's so funny that they zoom out. They pan out to his fat ass gut. What the fuck was this guy thinking when he woke up and put that shit on? What a fucking idiot. Look at
And
this
Chuck,
shit.
if I hadn't been here?
I would have talked to him. If I felt very uncomfortable, I would have left.
But if he would have consented to having sex, what would have happened?
I'd be very hesitant at first. If he continued, then possibly we would have had.
Possibly you would have had sex with a 13-year-old boy.
If, I felt uncomfortable and I felt that he was, not fit or anything, I would have walked
Not
away.
fit?
Not fit, exactly. That's the best fucking response you can come up. Not fit, exactly like that. What are you talking about, dude?
How can a 13-year-old boy be fit to have sex with a 65-year-old man?
Exactly.
Don't you see an issue there?
Well, I see nothing wrong with cuddling and caressing.
Yeah, but you talk about
Which is so fucked. I mean, that is like when you start arguing that, it's so fucked. Because these guys could, under a strict, you'd have to look at the letter of the law in order to see what a person could get away with. You know what I mean? It's like a kiss doesn't have to be sexual. Like you could kiss like your relative on the cheek, and it's not a weird thing. You know what I mean? But at the same time, a kiss on the cheek could be weird in a certain context. So it's like Chuck saying there's nothing wrong with cuddling and caressing. It's like, I guess legally, in and of themselves, no. When they're done with good intention, no. But when they're done with fucked intention, it's disgusting. And it's like, it may not be illegal, but it's fucked. It's horrible. It's just a horrible loophole that has to exist, But it just really speaks to how crafty he's trying to be. So now he's trying to be like, oh, well, I wouldn't have crossed any legal lines. But he's not saying he wouldn't have done it. He's saying that implicitly he's acknowledging I wouldn't have been able to resist, and I just wouldn't have crossed any legal lines, but I would have touched. So that's what Chuck is saying. I would have touched, but I just wouldn't have put my dick out. But even that is highly contestable because he probably would have.
About a lot of other things besides coming
Well,
in present.
that was
It's right here in black and white.
that's if things were to have.
13 is not the age of consent.
Exactly.
No matter what happened here, it's statutory rape, Chuck. Do you get that?
Okay.
Or have you studied for a religious order?
So you're
You're
gonna arrest me.
grown.
You're arresting me in and booking me.
I can't
You're
arrest you.
arresting me and booking me. Why is that his only thought? His only thought is of self-preservation. He feels no guilt. He feels no remorse. He's only thinking about the fucking consequences that he has to face, or that he thinks he's going to face. This guy's evil. The fact that he was a fucking a whatever in the church, a collared brother, that really just speaks to how little credibility the church has oftentimes. I think that the church used to be looked upon a lot more favorably, but it's probably just the rise of technology. Human beings, I believe that society isn't getting worse, that human beings just have the ability to record things now. I believe that, I mean, people have just been fucked throughout the entire history of the world. It's like, now we're only hearing about it because it's all fucking captured on a cell phone. But people like this, they've been around, and they've been in the church, and they've done their shit, and they have called others immoral.
No matter what happened here, it's statutory rape, Chuck. Do you get that?
Okay.
Or have you studied for a religious order?
So you're
You're
gonna arrest
grown
me.
man.
You're arresting me in and.
And that's all he cares
I
about is
can't
the
arrest
arrest.
What do you think should happen to you?
Well, I know that I won't talk anymore on the internet anymore. I won't talk to anybody. I'll stick strictly to my business, and that's it. I won't talk to any kids or anything else like that.
You sure
Stick
seem
strictly to your
experienced.
business. What does that even mean? How are you even
I
going to
won't
stay
talk to
strictly to
anybody.
your business?
I'll stick strictly to my business, and that's it. I won't talk to any kids or anything else like that.
Don't worry. Yeah, you'll stick strictly to... You won't stick to your prescription medication.
You
like
sure
Chris.
seem experienced, based upon this transcript I have here.
So Chris is calling him
How many other times
a
have
predator.
you-
He's saying, dude, you've groomed before. This is indicative of a grooming technique.
Hooked up with
I got books. I got books that I read.
Oh, shit. I almost forgot about this part. This is one of the most absurd things. And I think this just speaks to how warped his perception of reality is at this point. He's so disconnected from others. It's like he's not even aware that what he's saying is completely fucking disturbing.
Books.
I have. Yeah, it's called Hand Jobs. It deals with younger, older, father, son.
Father, son.
Father, son.
You're talking about fathers having sex with their sons, grandfathers having sex with their
Yeah,
grandsons.
doctors with their patients, with the young patients, employees with their young patients.
You talk about this.
I mean, you can't just
So
drop
they're-
the father, son, and then
You're talking
default
about
onto
father-
other shit.
Called Hand Jobs. It's
Books.
So this is a straight up defense. This is just a defense where he's saying, "Listen, it's not my fault. I've been corrupted." This is just like Ted Bundy kind of used this defense too. He said that hardcore pornography rewired his mind. That all the serial killers that he had talked to had a voracious appetite for hardcore pornography, violent pornography, and that's what drove him to do it. And now Chuck is kind of arguing a similar line of reason. He's just saying that the fantasy was put there by a book.
I have. Yeah, it's called Hand
A
Jobs.
book called
It's-
Hand Jobs, which is an actual book, which is horrible. Yeah, it's a really disgusting. It's like animated, so they could get away with. I think the book depicts like old guys and young kids. It's like, but because it's cartoon, they get away with it just by saying, oh, it's like it's just First Amendment, like it's just freedom of speech. Which once again, there's so many things about Chuck that really. It raises questions. It's like we can't have laws that are too specific, but at the same time, people can get away with sick shit. So it's like this book, Hand Jobs. It's like it depicts child porn basically, but because it's drawn, it's legal, and it's like Chuck is also arguing like, oh, I wouldn't do anything. I just cuddle and caress the child, which once again, it's like, yeah, it's disgusting, but it's legal. It's like there's so many things about Chuck that straddle the line of acceptability within the law, and that really kind of spark a reflection on like what the extent of the law should be.
It deals with younger, older, father, son.
Father, son.
Father, son.
Yes,
You're talking about fathers having sex with their sons,
That's
grandfathers having.
completely fucked. It's like when you're like to talk to a stranger about that. So he doesn't know who Chris. He originally was like, "Oh, you're gonna arrest me." He has no idea who Chris is, and now he's self-disclosing the horrible perverted bullshit that he was looking at.
Sex with their grandsons.
Doctors with their patients, with the young patients, employees.
Young patients, keyword young. So it's like that's the thing. This book specializes in that kind of shit.
With their young patients.
You talk about this like it's some sort of hobby, building train sets. That's not what we're talking about.
No,
here.
it's not.
It's a book that I read and I fantasize.
What's up with his hand?
No,
What's up with his hand gestures? He hasn't moved his hands at all. It's very powerful.
Employees with their young patients.
You talk about this like it's some sort of hobby, building train sets. That's not what we're talking about.
He shrugs
here.
his shoulders. You can see
It's a
he
book
shrugged
that
his
I
shoulders.
read and I fantasize.
And he puts his hand up.
I thought.
He has no idea what to say. He puts his hand up, just exasperated. He's like, I don't have the answers, dude.
Okay, we'll see.
How many other teenage boys have you hooked up with over the internet?
None.
None. Then that's only that. Then okay. Look, he's gonna do a hand to God. Oh my God! Don't tell me he says it. Look at this fucking. The quality of this is pretty bad, but he looks like a fucking. He looks like a disgusting tortoise.
Honest, I haven't hooked up. This is the first one that I hooked up with.
Hooked up with. Look.
Have you hooked up?
Okay, we'll see.
How many other teenage boys have you hooked up with over the internet?
None. Honest.
He's doing the hand to God, so he's putting up his right hand as if he's swearing on a Bible. That's like what you would do if you were in court. Not that it matters. At this point, he has such little credibility that it doesn't matter how many. It doesn't matter if he swears on a fucking stack of Bibles. No one is gonna believe a thing that he's saying.
I haven't hooked up. This is the first one that I hooked up with.
And you didn't hook up. I think that Chuck just doesn't understand what hooked up means. I think hooked up means sex. I think that it's kind of like one of those subjective words. People might define making out as hooking up, but I think it involves some kind of contact, to say the least. So it's kind of. Chris is asking like, how many other boys have you hooked up with in the past? And I think Chuck is denying that he's ever hooked up and just saying this is the first. He's still biting in. He's basically admitting to hooking up, though, which is like hooking up means something worse than what Chuck is articulating his intent to be.
I hear that a lot.
I hear that
Can
a
you
lot.
understand why I would be
He's
skeptical?
all, dude, I hear this line every fucking night.
I hear that a lot. Can you understand why I would be skeptical based upon this transcript?
It's like one of those jobs where it's like if you like are at a booth where people pay tickets or something. Like I remember I had a ticket that was hella late, and it's like I think I might have given an excuse, even that just needlessly I might have just gave an excuse, but it's like it was collections for the county. It's like where you go when they're gonna start garnishing your wages for a ticket, and it's like. It's funny because they must hear excuses all the time. It's like the people who work at a collection is like, here's why I didn't pay it. Like, oh, I lost my job, and like my car broke down. It's funny. It's funny to think that there's some jobs where it's like people just get so used to hearing the same excuses over and over.
I can't tell you, because I haven't hooked up with any other kid on the internet.
Did you bring condoms today?
No.
Interesting.
Search my body. I don't have anything with me.
Probably not. You know why? Because Chuck is old. Chuck doesn't care about condoms. Chuck is old. He's close to the end of his life. Chuck probably didn't bring condoms, which just speaks to the fact that he was going to do what he was going to do without protection. Obviously, the Luke, the decoy, the hypothetical Luke would be the one at risk for unprotected sex. Not Chuck. Chuck is old as fuck. So it's like when you're like 70 something years old, like so what? When you're young, if you contract an STD, if you contract HIV when you're fucking 13, like you're fucked. Your life is like so different. But it's like Chuck is so old that I mean, he's just old as fuck. Like, who knows how many years he has? Well, he doesn't have any years, but he could have had only a few years left, anyways. Even on if things would have worked out.
So what should happen to you?
He can't even admit it. He knows.
Well, I know what I would kind of say, but I know that that's not what you're saying, so.
What does that mean?
I would. Well, I know what I would kind of say, but I know that that's not what you're saying, so.
Do you ever watch television?
I know what I would say, but that's not what you're gonna say. So he can't even answer the fucking question. But he knows.
I watch news now and then. That's and some, like one program a night or something, like Seventh Heaven or Everwood or something like that. But it's not a regular basis, no.
Well, I can't arrest you because I'm not a police officer. I
not
am
a
Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story on computer predators.
Notice his lack of a
If
reaction.
there's anything else you'd like to tell us, we'd like
His
to
lack of a reaction.
If not,
I think that
obviously
comes
there's
because
nothing.
he's so old. He has nothing to lose. He has nothing to lose, and it's the same reason he didn't bring condoms. He's so old. It's like, what does it even matter? He probably has a very limited social circle. He probably only sees like family members, a few friends, maybe a few ex coworkers that he's kept touch with over the years. It's like Chuck is his best years are in the past. He's old as fuck. I don't think he has kids. He's just a bachelor. It's like his life is so shit. It doesn't even matter almost that this is happening. Like he's unfazed by it. He has nothing to lose. Guys who have something to lose like break down because everything they had before is so good. But what Chuck lost is not even good. I wonder if he had already made up his mind that he was gonna fucking kill himself.
I can do to keep you here and we're free to go.
No,
Nothing else you'd like to say
no,
that would explain why you're here?
no.
You're free to go.
Thank you.
Look at him.
I'll take the
I'll take that. I love the big ass camera right in his face. Look, he has to move the chair. So he's one of the most despised predators that I have for sure. I'm glad that he's dead. I think that people like him oftentimes get away with bullshit. So I'm glad that for once justice was kind of served out. All right, guys. Until next time.